Welcome to China Truths. Today we will bring you the following stories. Taiwan says ready for China's invasion, report warns of economic warfare. U.S. announces $567 million for Taiwan's defense. Taiwan to buy nearly 2,000 Stinger missiles from U.S. Amid China tension, U.S. Congressional Delegation arrives in Taiwan for National Day celebration. Now, let's dive into the details. It's all covered in today's China Truths. Taiwan says ready for China's invasion, report warns of economic warfare. The people of Taiwan will defend the self-ruled island against a potential invasion by the People's Republic of China, Taiwan's de facto ambassador to the United States said on Friday. At the same time, a report warned that Beijing's annexation may come about in the form of economic warfare. Asked whether citizens of Taiwan, also called the Republic of China, are ready to fight if the Chinese government in Beijing ramps up its aggression, Taiwan's representative to the United States Alexander Yui told Fox News, "Yes, of course," adding, "We've seen Ukraine." Meanwhile, a report published on Friday by Washington-based research institute the Foundation for Defense of Democracies, FDD, said that while decision-makers are focusing on the most dangerous scenarios, such as a military invasion or a blockade, the most strategic and logical approach for Beijing to realize its goal of annexing Taiwan is a cyber-enabled economic coercion campaign. Earlier this year, FDD researchers teamed up with banking and finance experts in Taiwan over 2 days to simulate likely non-military moves by Beijing. Researchers explored scenarios in which China restricted or banned the import of Taiwanese products, blocked payments and remittances to and from Taiwan, launched cyber attacks on critical infrastructures, cut undersea cables, used deepfake videos and audio to undermine the public's trust, or disrupted commercial traffic with missile tests. In its report, the FDD said the exercise showed that Beijing could leverage great pressure on Taiwan, without tripping any red lines with Washington or other allies. Tensions have flared in the Taiwan Strait since 2016 when Beijing began to increase diplomatic and military pressure on the island, prompting the United States to step up its support. Washington, which is obligated under U.S. law to provide Taipei with sufficient military hardware for its defense, has argued that it is in the U.S. interest to keep peace in the strait and to stand with democracies such as Taiwan to maintain the liberal democratic rules-based world order. Beijing has demanded the United States stay out of Taiwan, arguing it is a purely domestic affair. President Joe Biden has indicated he would send troops to defend Taiwan in case of an armed attack from China, but the U.S. government has yet to formulate a plan to respond to non-military tactics, giving Beijing flexibility in working to undermine Taiwan without triggering an outright response from Washington, the FDD researchers said. In one of the 4 scenarios tested by FDD, researchers playing the role of Beijing leaked reports of upcoming military exercises, threatened to occupy offshore islands, bribed media officials, and used influence operations to promote surrender and social unrest, said FDD China Program Senior Director Craig Singleton. Simultaneously, the CCP used contracts in futures markets to short Taiwanese stocks, creating selling pressure and inciting large-scale capital withdrawals. The resulting depreciation of the new Taiwan dollar triggered a real estate sell-off. Collapsing property prices and insufficient collateral spurred bank runs, the report reads, adding that multiple Taiwanese players saw the scenario as Beijing's preferred coercive strategy. Speaking at a panel discussion of the report, Singleton said Taiwan has already been facing a low-level economic and cyber coercion campaign and showed remarkable resilience. But the Chinese leader Xi Jinping, who views reunification with Taiwan as an ideological imperative, will launch a phased and flexible campaign using a mixture of economic, cyber, and military coercion to undermine Taiwan's resilience. The report's recommendations for Taiwan include building up resilience in infrastructure, energy, the economy, and civil society. Researchers also urged Washington to help Taiwan increase its resilience, as well as improving the response times of allied democracies to push back against China's authoritarian gray zone coercion. U.S. announces $567 million for Taiwan's defense. The United States announced on September 29 a drawdown of up to $567 million in defense support for Taiwan. In a statement, the White House said President Joe Biden has authorized the drawdown to provide Taiwan with defense articles and services of the Department of Defense, and military education and training. The statement came after multiple waves of test missile firings were detected in inland China over the weekend. The White House did not explain what defense articles and services will be provided to self-ruling Taiwan, which Beijing seeks to claim as its territory. Taiwan was on heightened alert over the weekend because of the firings by China's rocket force and army in provinces and regions about 1,200 miles away from Taiwan. Taiwan's defense ministry said it detected multiple waves of test firings in the provinces and regions of Inner Mongolia, Gansu, Qinghai, and Xinjiang beginning at about 6:50 a.m. local time on September 28. Taiwan's forces deployed joint intelligence and reconnaissance means to monitor relevant developments in the region, maintained a high degree of vigilance, and strengthened their alert, Taiwan stated. The ministry pledged to step up Taiwan's defense capabilities in the face of severe enemy threats but emphasized that the self-ruling island is not seeking any conflict. Any threatening and provocative actions will seriously undermine regional stability, it stated, warning that any threat to the security and prosperity of the Indo-Pacific region will affect global development. On September 25, Beijing test-fired an intercontinental ballistic missile, ICBM, into the Pacific Ocean, its first such test since 1980, during the UN General Assembly meeting in New York City. China is one of the 5 permanent members of the UN Security Council and is seeking to gain influence over key UN departments, including human rights. Taiwan's foreign ministry condemned the ICBM launch and said it jeopardized the peaceful regional status quo. It urged the Chinese government to exercise restraint and cease all activities that disrupt regional stability. Taiwan has sought to increase its military equipment purchases amid the Chinese military's repeated incursions into the island's airspace. In a recent budget report, Taiwan's defense ministry said it aims to procure 1,985 Stinger missiles from the United States, in addition to the 500 missiles already ordered for its Navy and Army. On September 26, Taiwan's military spotted 43 Chinese aircraft and 8 vessels operating around the island, with 34 of the aircraft crossing the median line and entering Taiwan's Southwestern and Eastern Air Defense Identification Zone, ADIZ. Taiwan responded by scrambling aircraft, Navy vessels, and coastal missile systems to monitor their activities. A day earlier, Taiwan's military said it detected 23 Chinese military aircraft around the island, with 22 crossing the median line of the Taiwan Strait and entering the southwestern and eastern ADIZ to conduct distant waters maneuvering. Analysts say China's incursions are part of Beijing's strategy of gray zone warfare. Taiwan to buy nearly 2,000 Stinger missiles from U.S. Amid China tension, Taiwan has planned to increase its procurement of short-range Stinger missiles from the United States to boost its defense capabilities amid China's ongoing military threats, according to the island's defense ministry. In a recent budget report, the ministry stated its aim to procure 1,985 Stinger missiles, in addition to the 500 missiles already ordered for its Navy and Army, local media outlet Liberty Times reported on September 1. According to the report, the ministry has received approval from the U.S. government for its revised order, raising the value of the arms sales from about $417 million to about $2.15 billion. The revised order will also include 549 launching systems and 549 sets of identification friend or foe transponders for the Taiwanese Army, which are expected to arrive by 2031. The first batch of Stinger missiles is scheduled for delivery in 2025 and will be deployed to the island's Army and Marine units, military police in Taipei, Navy ships, and Coast Guard garrisons, according to the ministry. The second shipment of Stinger missiles is expected to arrive by 2031 and will be kept in reserve, according to the ministry. Taiwan has sought to increase its military equipment purchases amid the Chinese military's repeated incursions into the island's airspace in recent months. The Chinese government, which has never ruled Taiwan, considers the self-governed island to be a renegade province and has never ruled out the possibility of using force to control it. Washington does not support Taiwan's independence and opposes any unilateral changes to the status quo from either side but has stated that it would still provide Taiwan with the capabilities necessary for defense. In June, the Biden administration approved a $360 million weapons sale to Taiwan, sending the island hundreds of armed drones, missile equipment, and related support material. The sale included 291 Altius 600M systems, which are unmanned aerial vehicles with warheads, and 720 Switchblade drones, known as extended-range loitering munitions, the State Department said at the time. The arms transfer would help improve the security of the recipient and assist in maintaining political stability, military balance, and economic progress in the region, the department stated. Beijing has expressed strong opposition to U.S. arms sales to Taiwan, saying that such sales violate the One China principle and constitute interference in China's internal affairs. In July, Beijing imposed sanctions on 6 U.S. defense companies and 5 senior executives over arms sales to Taiwan. U.S. Congressional delegation arrives in Taiwan for National Day celebration. A U.S. congressional delegation has arrived in Taiwan to meet with senior Taiwanese officials and participate in the island's National Day celebrations on October 10. Representative Debbie Lesko, a Republican from Arizona, led the delegation, which arrived in Taiwan on October 6 for a 6-day visit, according to a press release from Taiwan's foreign ministry. Lesko is joined by Representative Andy Biggs, a Republican from Arizona, and Carol Miller, a Republican from West Virginia. Their trip demonstrates the U.S. Congress's firm support for Taiwan and peace and stability in the Taiwan Strait, the ministry said. The three lawmakers are scheduled to meet Taiwan Vice President Hsiao Bi-khim, who was the island's top representative to the United States from July 2020 to November 2023. Talks between the two sides will focus on U.S. Taiwan relations, regional security, and economic and energy policies, according to the ministry. The ministry said the delegation's visit is important given that China has continued to use gray zone tactics to undermine peace and stability across the Taiwan Strait, and it has frequently taken measures to isolate the island from the international community. Gray zone operations are actions designed to stay below the threshold of triggering military conflict, but create political pressure for Taipei to give in to Beijing's demands. On October 7, the U.S. delegation met with Taiwanese National Security Council Secretary General Joseph Wu at the Presidential Office Building, according to Radio Taiwan International. The outlet reported that the visiting U.S. lawmakers told Wu that there is bipartisan congressional support for Taiwan and agreed that the island plays a major role in regional and global peace and stability. Taiwan, officially called the Republic of China or ROC, will celebrate its 113th birthday on its National Day, which is also dubbed the Double 10 Day. The highlight of the event will be Taiwan President Lai Ching-te's keynote address. The Chinese government claims Taiwan is a province of China. One of Beijing's gray zone operations has been near-daily air incursions into Taiwan's Air Defense Identification Zone ADIZ, which is a state's publicly declared national airspace. On October 7, Taiwan's defense ministry announced that it had spotted 19 Chinese planes entering the island's ADIZ in the previous 24 hours. Biggs and Miller are visiting Taiwan for the first time, while Lesko visited the island in 2016 as part of a U.S. state-level delegation, according to Taiwan's foreign ministry. The United States has maintained a non-diplomatic relationship with Taiwan based on the Taiwan Relations Act or TRA. The TRA authorizes the United States to supply Taiwan with military equipment for the island's self-defense. Lesko's 8th Congressional District is home to two Phoenix-based advanced labs being built by the Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, Taiwan's largest contract chipmaker. One of the labs will begin mass production in the first half of 2025 using the 4-nanometer process, TSMC announced in April.